What's up, guys? Welcome back to DCA. So what we're going to do in this video is take a look at Bitcoin dominance with relation to the altcoin market, because I think we're at one of these critical points in the market right now. So it's definitely something worth discussing and taking a look at how Bitcoin has reacted historically and what the altcoins have done in relation to Bitcoin reaching this level. We're doing this analysis today while excluding Ethereum. So we're only looking at Bitcoin's dominance with relation to all of the other altcoins, all of the top altcoins. You can see here that essentially since the beginning of 2021, Bitcoin was sitting at around 4.5 times the market cap of all of the other altcoins combined. And once that bull market got kicked off, kind of what we've been talking about all along on this channel is what you see is the Bitcoin dominance typically gains strength in the beginning of a bull market because all of the money is coming into Bitcoin. And as the bull market proceeds, then people start to take profits from Bitcoin and they move it into more speculative assets like Ethereum and then eventually a lot of the altcoins. And that's exactly what we saw. The dominance of Bitcoin dropped around 80% with relation to these altcoins. So when you zoom into the middle of 2021 through current day, we can see that an interesting pattern has been developing throughout this entire last year, year and a half now. Basically, we've had this support level down here at around a 1-to-1 ratio. So this means the market cap of Bitcoin is equal to that of the market cap of all of the altcoins. We're right now sitting down here right at this level. We've come back down to this support level. And what you'll notice is every time we hit this support level, we've had a bounce, and in fairly quick order, we've gone back up to this upper band. So what we want to do today is look at what happens if we do go up to that upper band again. What does that mean for the entire market? So not just Bitcoin, because, this chart doesn't just tell us what happens with Bitcoin. This chart essentially is telling us what the entire market does. So let's take a look at times that we've come down to this level and what has happened with the market at that time. So we see back here in May was the first time that we came down to this level. And if we come over to the Bitcoin chart, we all remember what happened in May, right? So Bitcoin went from a price of around 60K, where we then went all the way down to around 30K. Now, interestingly, you'll notice that the price of Bitcoin is falling and yet its market cap dominance is rising. And so remember, this doesn't mean that the price of Bitcoin is necessarily going up when this chart goes up. It just means that the value of Bitcoin is relatively more valuable than the altcoins. While Bitcoin is falling 50%, the altcoins were falling 60, 70, 80% during this time. And so that's how you get a falling Bitcoin price. And at the same time, you see the dominance of Bitcoin is rising with relation to the altcoins. We gained dominance with relation to the altcoins. So this is the Bitcoin price here. And it continued to gain dominance in spite of the fact that you were seeing the price of Bitcoin fall all the way into July. Now, what happened then? Well, we see that the Bitcoin dominance started to fall right around here, right in July. During that time, right at the end of July, even though the price of Bitcoin was going up, its market cap dominance was falling. So the market cap dominance of Bitcoin rises all the way through September and then shoots back up to here in October. And if we just come look at the chart from September into October, Bitcoin goes all the way up to reach around 66K, setting a new all-time high. And at that time, we're seeing the Bitcoin dominance rise. Okay, so the opposite behavior of the first time that we saw it rise. So over here, Bitcoin was rising while the market cap of the entire market was falling. And here it rose while just it was rising. So a lot of the altcoins were still kind of hanging around, not doing a lot at that time. And then in October, after we hit that 66K level, you started to then see the market cap dominance of Bitcoin fall. And we came back down to this level. Bitcoin kind of hung out here and wasn't really doing much, right? When it was falling, when its market cap dominance was falling. It went up to 69K, but big deal, right? So it was kind of running out of steam. As an example, what was Solana doing during that same exact time period? Well, Solana was going from 138 all the way up to $260. So the altcoins were going on an absolute run during that time. And that's why you see the Bitcoin dominance rise into October and then rapidly fall down here into January, essentially. So then you see from January all the way to the first to second week of June, Bitcoin's dominance was rising with relation to the altcoins. And if we just look back here, remember from January where it started to rise, Bitcoin went from 32K up to around 48K. So it was doing better than the rest of the market was. Then after this point here in March, then Bitcoin started to fall, but its dominance continued to rise. So that means it was rising faster than the rest of the altcoin market, and it was falling less. So while Bitcoin did take a huge drop here in price, it lost 40% of its market cap. But remember, the altcoins lost even more during that time. And then right here is where we had the Luna event, where Luna basically tanked and lost the majority of its market cap, right? And Bitcoin was obviously a part of that deal because they were using it to collateralize the network. And so there was a mass selling of Bitcoin, forced selling. We had the Three Arrows Capital event, the entire market crashes. But because Bitcoin was directly related to that, it did lose more than the altcoins did there. Okay, so sort of in a black swan event. Because typically what we expect in a full out bear market, when we have a bear market where the market is doing nothing but heading down, we would expect that this Bitcoin dominance would continue to rise. But that is not what happened. So we saw the price of Bitcoin tank, and now it's just kind of been slowly losing ground. And now we're down here yet again, back at this 1-to-1 ratio. So this begs the question, what do we expect to see from here? Now, I will tell you that anytime you have a support level like this, anytime you have a support level and you come down and you test it and you test it and you test it and you test it and you keep testing it, you sort of run the risk of how many times can you do this before you break to the downside, right? So that's definitely something that we have to keep in mind here. We've been down here now 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're testing it for a 5th time here. We tested this level back here in early September, and now we're back here again. So it is a bit concerning that we're back at this level again, especially with all of the uncertainty in the market. And especially when you consider that it's very likely that institutions, if they are involved in crypto, they're probably holding Bitcoin. And if they move into a position where they become completely risk off and they decide to dump all of their risk assets, that's going to put Bitcoin at risk at the moment. So, this is definitely worth watching. And there is always a chance that we fall below this level. And I think that's going to be a bad sign for both Bitcoin and potentially the entire crypto market if we lose this level, because that would indicate that, sort of the premier asset in this entire asset class has, lost value. We're not comparing this to Ethereum, which you could consider the other blue chip asset. We're comparing it to a large collection of other highly speculative assets that definitely many of them are essentially worthless, because a lot of the altcoins within this top 125 that we're comparing it to here won't even be around next market cycle. So if you see Bitcoin starting to lose ground to those assets, I tend to feel like that is a rather poor prognostic sign for this market. I felt like it's necessary to mention that. What I believe is going to happen, however, is regardless of whether Bitcoin bounces and starts to move up in price, or if the entire market starts to crash, I think that you're going to see Bitcoin start to head back up to this upper resistance band. I can't stress this enough, and that is that quantitative tightening, which is, now in full force, really pressures the market towards a risk-off attitude. Okay. So when we're moving towards this quantitative tightening portion of our market cycle now, I really think that it becomes difficult to see the crypto market in particular really go on any kind of massive run right now. I think it's the liquidity in this market is just going to continue to dry up. So this isn't to say that any in particular altcoin can't outperform Bitcoin, but I have a hard time believing that on aggregate you're going to see altcoins outperform Bitcoin right now. And I'm not going to tell you how long that this is necessarily going to last, because I don't have the answers to that. But I do suspect as long as you're continuing to see the Fed take the stance that they will be raising interest rates, they will be continuing with selling assets off of their books, I think you're going to continue to see the market have a significant bearish bias. Okay. Because of that, I think that we see Bitcoin sort of get a bounce off of this level and begin to head up. I hate to even say things like this, but we can't say with any high degree of certainty at the moment whether Bitcoin moving up this way will be a May type event where Bitcoin is falling in price, but it's still gaining market cap dominance, or will it be a June, a June to September type event where Bitcoin is rising in price, but it's just rising faster than the altcoins? And I don't have the answer to that. I would say ever since I've started my channel here, over a year ago now, this moment in time where we're at right here really is the least certain I've been about market direction. I feel like the market is, there's just so much uncertainty in the market right now that, my suspicion is that we head down. But I feel like when literally everyone that you talk to in the space almost unanimously is lined up on the side of, the market is heading down. We have to go down from here. We're heading to new lows. We're heading to 12K. We're heading to 6K. When every single participant in the market is on that side of the fence, that's when I start to become suspicious that that is not what's happening here anymore. So normally I like to give you guys some type of strong opinion one way or the other about what I believe the market is going to do. I just don't have one at the moment. At the end of the day, I'd rather be honest about what my stance on the market is than just come up with an opinion just to give you one. So basically, the market right now, even with the price of Bitcoin, we're right at this support level here. But, there's one thing I can tell you. There's one thing I can tell you with certainty. You do not want to lose this price here. You do not want to lose this price. You lose this right here. If we start to lose and close below this 17.7, 17.6 level, the market is in trouble. I can tell you that much for certain. If you lose this level, if we crash below, watch out. Because, I really think that if that happens, if we kind of lose this level here, you're looking at 12K. That's where you're heading next. And potentially, there's some belief in the market that losing this level breaks an entire 12-year structure that Bitcoin has been building. That means you're in an entirely new cycle where Bitcoin is no longer on this sort of this logarithmic growth curve that we've been on for 12 years now. You've entered into a whole new phase of the market. And, here's a hint, that whole new phase of the market isn't a good one. It's not what you want to see. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, guys. If I had any strong beliefs one way or the other, I would certainly tell you. But the only strong belief I have right now is that we're in for a ride. We'll be watching it together, guys. And, hopefully the markets start to show some strength. And it's always entirely possible. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, guys. The market situation is tough right now. Liquidity is tough to come by. And remember, the assets like Bitcoin are essentially liquidity sponges. When it's, raining money out there, Bitcoin soaks it up. When it gets real dry, what happens to a dry sponge? If you hit it on the cement, you could snap it in half. And that's kind of, in my opinion, what's going on in this market right now. The sponge is dry, and because of that, we are certainly in a risky position. So let's watch this. We're going to watch to see what happens here because we are back down at this level yet again. We're going to watch to see what happens. We're going to look to see what the altcoins begin to do. But realistically, the two most important things in the market at the moment are, watching this level right here and watching to see what Bitcoin does with relation to this altcoin market. So, if you're heavily into altcoins right now, I would just be careful at the moment. I would really be careful because if Bitcoin starts to crash, if Bitcoin starts to go below, down to this 12K level, you better watch out, guys. Because, I think you could quickly see I do not think it's out of the realm of possibilities to quickly see Bitcoin head back up to this level and potentially break above it even. So I know that isn't the trend we've seen basically throughout the last year and a half, but just go back to, and I know I get it. We're not in 2018 anymore. This is this is essentially a more use case driven market now. Just look what happened back here in 2018 when things got really ugly. These altcoins hung on back here for quite a while too. You saw these phases in the market where the altcoins had these large recoveries, right? And eventually, though, they gave way, and then Bitcoin started to go parabolic against the altcoins. So I think that if we saw another Bitcoin crash, this one, the next Bitcoin crash wouldn't be caused by UST or the Luna UST event or Three Arrows Capital. All of that type of systemic risk is mostly out of the market. If we did start to see a crash, I think that you're going to see, my opinion is we'll see Bitcoin rapidly moving up this way. So we'll just continue to watch, guys. And, not my cheeriest video I've ever made, but, it is what it is. I'm not here to give you good news. I'm here to give you, what I consider to be accurate analysis. So that's it for this one. Until next time, as usual, see you.